Hello, I'm Ginger.
I'm Dee.
And this is Chattin with CHAP, episode 91.
91.
I think it's 91 outside today.
I think it is.
It's
gonna
really
rain
hot.
though.
It is going to rain. It's really hot.
It is really hot. But 91 episodes. I'm proud of us.
Yay!
We've
It's
been very
almost-
consistent.
Yes, this fall will be 2 years.
Yeah. Wow. I can't even believe that. But, oh my. But anyway, a couple of announcements before we get into
Yes.
our weekly Chattin with CHAP. If you missed it, our first webinar was last Thursday at 2. It was getting started homeschooling. Went very well, extremely well received. We had an awesome sponsor. They gave away a free book to everyone who was watching.
Cool.
It was
To
really,
everyone.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So we're going to have several more webinars coming up. You don't want to miss that. I will drop the links in the comments to register, but this Thursday at 2 is homeschooling your teen. So if you have a high schooler, not just new to homeschooling, this is anybody who's new to maybe high school, or even if you have, maybe your kids,
You need some fresh ideas for your high school?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to go to this.
Yeah. So 2 o'clock with Deb Bell tomorrow. And then the following Thursday, we have Sarah Collins doing a session on learning differences. And so that's going to be, another great session. And then the following Thursday, I believe it's the 27th, at 7 p.m., we switched it up and moved it to the evening. If that suits schedules a little better, we're going to do the new to homeschooling again. So if you know anyone that is new to homeschooling, that would be a great session for them. I'll drop all 3 links in the comments so that if you'd like to register for our webinars, we'd love to have you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Homeschool University is still up and running, so I can post a link to that too. And that is a fabulous resource that you don't want to miss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. So, who's the supervisor of the homeschool, Ginger?
Well, that would be me. Or whoever's running it, parent, I don't know, whoever's going to be in charge of making sure that homeschooling happens for the year.
Yes,
That's you.
that is the supervisor. So you're the administrator, the teacher, the principal.
The whole thing wrapped up
You
into
get it
one.
all. Yes.
You get to say what goes, everybody.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So there's the framework, the law. We have the law, and inside that, there's a lot of room to make choices.
There are a lot of room to make choices. So with the law, you know that, we've talked about this a lot. We'll talk real briefly. You're in charge of the paperwork, affidavits, objectives, keeping a portfolio, getting an evaluation at the end of the year, handing that in. Of course, that as a supervisor, that's what you're responsible for doing. So you though, moms, supervisors, I want you to realize are in charge of everything that happens with your homeschool. You are in control of all the choices, all the curriculum choices. No one tells you what curriculum you should use. No one tells you how long you should use it. No one tells you what time of day you should use it.
Yep.
That is for you to choose.
Yeah, you are free to choose. And so then you may choose to use someone else's plan, maybe a diploma program or something like that, but you're not forced to.
Yeah.
You are free to make those decisions.
And you can be alone. You can do it in just your family, or you can invite. You get to choose who you invite in. That's kind of what it is. If you want to do a co-op, obviously you're inviting those teachers into your school, or just friends, or however you handle it, library programs, whatever. But you're the gate.
That's right.
You get to be the person who chooses who's going to have influence or time with your kids in what they're teaching.
Right, but nothing is required. So let's just review real quickly. I know we've done this, but let's review what the law says, because we've heard some school districts asking for some things that are not a part of the law. So just know the law. So the school district gets your affidavit and objectives. That's what they get.
That is it.
Yeah, they can't ask you what curriculum you're using. No. They can't ask you about your evaluator, your kids' birth certificates, your diploma. So the public school law is not the same as the homeschool law.
No.
So you need to know that.
Yes. So, and it's not, most of the public schools out there, they're just going by what they understand.
Yeah,
and they're asking.
I don't think they're out
to get anybody, but I think they're just going on what they understand, and I don't think they understand the homeschool law super awesomely well. So if you're brand new, just be aware of what is truly required of you, and it is literally just the affidavit and the objectives.
That's right.
If your affidavit says, I have a high school diploma, I do medical, I do dental, I do immunizations, if it has all that in it, like the one on homeschoolpennsylvania.org does, you don't need to give that stuff. Right. Don't give them those things. Don't give them your kids' birth certificates. And you can just say, no, for those other things, my affidavit attests to that. I don't need to hand that extra paperwork in.
That's right.
They also can't put your affidavit on hold. Like, I've been hearing things like that, well, we're processing your application and we're putting you on hold. That's not what an affidavit is.
Yeah, you're not applying to homeschool.
No, it's not an application. It's
Yeah.
a notification. So there's a difference there. An application is asking permission. Can I do that? Can I come do this? A notification is saying, hey, you know what? We're doing this thing.
Right.
So an affidavit is a notification. So don't get those confused. The school district has no say on whether or not you homeschool. It has no say on what grade your kid is in. It has no say on whether your kid passes or whatever. It's the handy drop-off place for your paperwork. Okay, supervisors, it's just where you can go to drop off the paperwork. They can't tell you that you can't homeschool.
Right. So within that, once you do that, you have the freedom to choose if and when you're done. You have the freedom to choose the grades that your children get, the credits. You give the credits. You make the transcripts. The evaluator will make sure you're complying with the law, but they don't pass your child.
No.
You
No.
pass. You make that decision.
Yes.
So,
Yes, that is again, you're the supervisor. So you're picking an evaluator that you like. You're not assigned an evaluator. You pick who goes with your philosophy of learning. So the evaluator is just making sure you're following those basic tenets of the law. Yeah, we're covering this and we're covering this sometime in the elementary and all those types of things. They are not the one, they can't say, well, you didn't do enough, your kid has to do third grade again. That is no such thing. You as the supervisor can do that. I know people who have done that with their kids. Said, you know what, you didn't do very good this year. It was a bad year for us. We're just going to do this grade again.
Right.
Or you can also say, you know what, you are a rock star and you're jumping ahead. We're going to skip the next grade and go to the one beyond that. But you're the supervisor, so you get to pick that. Now, your evaluator can say, well,
They can give you suggestions.
They can say, well, yeah.
I think I have a really good relationship with my evaluator, and so I respected what her suggestions. We had a friendship. I mean, so I, looked up to her. So I suggest you have an evaluator that you have a relationship with and connect with and bounce ideas off of. But the bottom line is, you as the supervisor are the one that makes the decisions for your children.
Yes.
And so that's all the why and the law and what's allowed and not allowed and what's required of you. But as the supervisor, one way that you can keep yourself centered is to actually sit down and write down why you homeschool.
Yeah, write down your goals. What are your goals? So we talked about that before, like having your overarching goal, like this is my heart for homeschooling and this is why we do what we do. But there's also all those, like the smaller goals,
Right.
The weekly goals, the daily goals, the monthly goals, that type of thing. It's always good to know what you're shooting for, because on the days when it's really hard, you're going to need to hold on to, it could be the big goal you really need to hold on to on those really hard days. But even if you've had a kind of bumpy week, it's good to look back and be like, okay, did we accomplish our
Is my
goal for
child
the
more
week?
confident?
Yeah.
Was there
Have they
problem
learned
solving?
to do problem solving?
Did they have the week mask free? I mean,
Yeah.
some of you are homeschooling simply because
of
that.
those types of things.
You're
Yeah.
winning when you meet those goals.
Yeah, and that is a real encouragement. Like if
Yeah.
you have those smaller goals that you can say, we did this, you can feel good about it. And that's important as a supervisor, which is one of the reasons I think we suggest that you connect with other people to find encouragement from them too, because they're supervising their homeschool, you're supervising your homeschool, and you can encourage each other in that.
And you don't have to have perfect plans as the supervisor to start. Nothing has to be perfect to start.
It won't be.
Because,
I don't think you can have
no.
perfect.
If you're waiting
We think
to
you
plan this out perfectly, your kids will interfere with they're going to interfere with that anyway. So, but you just need to learn with your kids, change as you go. Flexibility as the supervisor of your homeschool is important.
Yes, and I know there's a lot of moms out there, whether you purposely were like, we're homeschooling, or just kind of like, oh my goodness, we're going to homeschool. I can't believe we're doing this. There's a lot of moms out there who feel like they're woefully inadequate and that you don't know enough or you didn't have a good enough education. But what I want to encourage you is learn with your children. Like I got through school. I was a half decent student. There are some things I just couldn't stand. There's some courses I just really didn't like. But when I was going through it with my kids, I was like, wow. Like it was fun for me to learn again. Yeah. And so we learned
History
together.
came alive for me.
It really did for me
when
too.
I started homeschooling. It really did. So because we just read a lot of really good books together, and it wasn't just the textbook memorization.
Not textbooks.
Memorize the dates and timelines. Like it was just a lot of.
Don't use the dry textbooks from the public school. Oh, they were so boring. Do you remember those? I remember those. They were terrible. Historical novels. Ooh, so good. Yeah.
So the other thing we want to just encourage you with is to remember that learning takes time. So don't rush it.
Yes. Okay. Like you've had 3 phonics lessons now. You should be able to read all by yourself.
It doesn't work that way. No,
it doesn't. I had in my body, I could feel it in my arms. I'd be sitting there and they're sounding things out, and I'm like, trying to, oh, this is taking forever, or this is driving me crazy, or whatever it was that particular day. And it was painful. It was painful. I just shook the screen. But that one child in particular, it was when it clicked. Oh boy, did it click! It took a while, but then it really, really kicked in. Yeah. And some of it's longer. I mean, some of them, they just take a little longer to gain that confidence, so that I can still make you feel like. So it's not going to be instantaneous. Some things will be.
Yeah. But it's a process. It's a journey.
Yeah.
There's not, it's a marathon.
It is
We're
a
not
marathon.
just running a sprint as fast as we can here.
Yeah.
We need to just take the time that it takes for them to learn the things they need to learn and just enjoy that process. And as the supervisor, you choose how quickly or how slowly you go through something, which is what's so excellent about the freedom to homeschool.
So
and so when one child is taking off in this area, you can just move at rapid pace, and when the next one is a little, struggling a little bit here, you get to just slow down and enjoy the time and the learning with them. So,
and I'm telling you, even veteran moms need to learn this. I mean, it's hard because you just go through with your certain standard way, and you have,
and you want to get the day done,
whichever.
So you can do the dishes and do the laundry and cook dinner, and you
come along and child number whatever is doesn't function the way everybody else does, and you're like, what just happened? You're totally relearning. So it happens. It's not just new moms. It's everybody, because every kid is different. But that's what's awesome about being home with them and recognizing that and learning, Mom. Flexibility.
Yeah, flexibility. And one way to help keep yourself centered and focused and keep your goals in front of you and to feel some confidence in what you've accomplished is at the end of the week, just think about something joyful that came out of your homeschool. Reflect on that.
And write it down.
Yeah, write it down. Yeah. And enjoy that memory later. Just even the small things. I mean, like we said earlier, it may just be that your child's gained more confidence this week. Yeah. Or
they could write their name. Yeah. They wrote their name for the first time this week.
And we can miss that. So
yeah. Well, it was so funny because I was sitting there and Luke was reading yesterday, and he's 5. And was he reading or writing? And I was just looking at his tiny little fingers, and I was almost like, oh, I just wanted to hug him. He's so little, his little fingers. I'm like, oh my goodness, he's so little. Because I get used to, Luke, pick up your this, pick up your that, let's do this. And my house is busy. There's lots of people in it. There's a lot going on in my brain. And sometimes but I was sitting there watching him do his lesson. I had to sit there so I could help him. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So enjoy those moments. Reflect on them, write them down so you can remember them. But just remember, you're the supervisor, you're in charge, and that actually is not a scary thing.
It's not
scary.
That's
a freeing thing.
It is free.
That's an exciting thing.
It is exciting.
Yeah. So enjoy your role.
Yes.
As homeschool supervisor.
Yeah. It's good. It's good to be there. Once you get used to it, you'll really enjoy it. It's really kind of funny when you become an independent homeschool thinker, and then you you run into other life situations, and you're like, well, I'm an independent homeschool thinker. Just think outside the box.
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Good.
Well, we'll be
Okay.
back next week.
We will.
Yeah. But don't forget the webinars. We'll drop the links in the comments.
All
Well,
right.
This has been
Chattin'
Chattin'
with
with Chap.
We'll
See you
see
next
ya.
week. Bye.